Welcome to PK's Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing the Deluxe Theatrical Edition from McFarlane, Superman and Krypto from the new Superman movie directed by James Gunn. And to compare, we also have the standard release here on the right. Essentially the same figure, except the cape is going to be in the hard plastic for the standard edition, but we have the wired fabric cape on the deluxe version. And of course, the deluxe version includes Krypto, the dog, and a couple of extra faces that you can change out, and it looks like the same set of hands. So we'll just compare these two boxes. Here's the side. Here's the back. Slightly different artwork there. Here's the other side. Okay, so to start off with, this is $35. This one, the standard one, is going to be $25. I found the standard version at Target, but had to go to Walmart to find the Deluxe Theatrical Edition. So we'll go ahead and open up the deluxe version and take a closer look. So here he is with all the items removed from the box. And just right out of the gate, it looks and feels a lot better than what I was expecting. As you can see, we have the card featuring both Superman and Krypto. We've got the 3 different additional faces that you can swap out. We've got additional set of hands. Typically, you would use that for a flying pose, kind of a flat hand. And then you've, of course, got Krypto, which in my opinion is the main reason you would get the deluxe version. And to justify the extra $10, it's essentially another prop slash figure of Krypto. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the figure itself. Okay, here's Superman up close. The first thing I noticed as I was looking through, there was about 10 maybe different boxes of this exact figure at Walmart on the shelf. Looks like they had just put it out. But the paint apps is kind of the main concern, especially around the belt area. If you look kind of on the top, there's quite a bit of red where it should be yellow, which bothered me quite a bit. Of course, I picked the best one out of the ones they had, and this is about as good as it's going to get. Most of them, the line between the red and the yellow was dipping quite low, which that's a quality control issue, and I wish they did a better job getting those top portions to be yellow like they're supposed to. And if they had done that, it would look a little bit more 3D as well, but it looks a little flat with just the front side kind of sloppily painted on there with the yellow. Another issue I noticed was the logo on some of the other ones had little dings and imperfections. This one was also one of the better ones. Face-wise, same kind of quality control issue. The McFarlane paint apps aren't always the best. As a customizer, I found that you often have to give it a little bit of love and touch up as far as the face, and the general body could probably use a bit of a wash if you want to go for that more gritty look. Now, I will say, although I didn't have it in hand, there is a battle damage version as well that essentially has a paint wash, a black wash over the whole thing to make it look kind of dirty and dusted up like he's been in battle. I didn't care for that. I appreciated the thought behind it, and to add a little extra variety as far as which Superman figure you want and want to display, especially if you're doing toy photography. But since I know how to do a simple black wash, I didn't think it was necessary, and I figured if I really wanted to, I could do a lighter wash on this one to make it look a little bit more textured, a little bit more dirtied up, but not to the extent where it's essentially battle damage, which I think is the way to go. So if you look at the face, the other thing is this is, again, one of the better faces that I was able to find out of the selection. But there's going to be some variation with some of the paintwork, especially around the eyebrows. They may align perfectly, they may not. They may run a little long, they may be a little lower set or higher set, so you got to watch out for that. This one is one of the better ones. None of them are going to be perfect. I think this eyebrow here is a bit low. and too close to the inside. That looks a little weird on his brow there. His hair could probably use a dark wash as well, just to bring out a little texture. I know he's supposed to have dark hair, but it just looks very flat. I am impressed with the texture on the actual suit. It's got that nice kind of braille waffle texture there throughout. Now, some of the other figures, the high-end figures, Mayfix, Figure Arts, they've got the additional texture on the logo, but McFarlane went with a flat texture for the logo, which I don't hate, but it's just something to note. It does not have the texture for the logo, although it does throughout the rest of the costume. Now, we have to talk about the cape. Of course, it's a wired fabric cape, which, in my opinion, should always be the default. I don't quite understand why McFarlane and other companies make versions with the plastic cape. It's very hard to pose. I don't think it looks as good. This looks a lot more realistic and natural, and it's just more fun to play with, especially with the wiring on the outside. You can get it to, kind of do whatever you want it to do. So that's another reason to consider the deluxe version over the standard issue. That fabric cape is a big plus in my opinion. All right, let's look at some articulation. Okay, I'm gonna try to put his head all the way up to look up. Not very great. All the way down. Also not much movement there. Kind of tight. You can kind of hear it squeaking. A bit tight there. Might need to do a little bit of a heat boil to get it a little bit more loose. Okay, so the arms go up about that high. He does have this double joint here for the shoulder area, but it doesn't do much. It's, similar to like a Marvel Legends Spider-Man type figure where you get the extra range of motion, but it doesn't seem as useful here. So you can go just a little bit forward and back like that. Okay, the arms, again, everything's a little stiff, but you can turn it like that. Double jointed elbow, get a good bend there. It's pretty good. He does have the ab crunch, so you can turn midway like that. Doesn't bend down very much at all, bends back just a little bit. And that feels very stiff down there, close to the waist. I'm afraid to break it, so I'm not gonna try to move it too much more, but it is very stiff. Okay, legs. Okay, that's pretty good. You can pretty much do a split kick there. Oh yeah, pretty good range. And he's got the double knee joint. That's going to be useful for your flying poses. And he does have the toe articulation, which is also nice. Yeah, so you can get a pretty decent pose there. Here's Krypto. I have a feeling he's going to be well loved in the movie. James Gunn has a talent for making love kind of the small animal type characters like Rocket Raccoon and such. So I'm pretty sure people are going to be after this little Krypto once they see the movie. Pretty simple. There's not really articulation. It's just a simple mold. But he does come with a fabric cape as well, which is very cool to match the Superman cape. So I dig it. I really think the addition of Krypto is also a big thing to consider when upgrading to the deluxe version. It's a nice add-on to have next to your Superman. Okay, so we got to talk about the face sculpts here. Obviously, you have the reddish eye situation here, which makes sense if you want to do the laser action photography, or if you just want to have them pose that way. It makes less sense to me to have these two faces here because they look more or less the same. So I'm a little confused as to why these were included. I found them pretty unnecessary. Whereas if you look at the hands, he's got the two kind of flat hands here for flying, and he comes with one fist and one open hand. I would have preferred if we had a second fisted hand for his left hand here. It may be kind of the same open grabbing hand for his right hand. I don't see why someone would be eager to switch out these faces. They're too similar in my opinion. So that I thought was kind of a waste. Here he is in a flight stand. I got him kind of in a flying pose. I use his flat hand for the backhand there. Kept the fist on. So that's typically how he flies, with the fist in front. Pretty decent pose. Let's move this around. Get a better shot of the S there. Oh, okay. There you go. Decent pose. For comparison, I've got the two other Supermen in the McFarlane series. We've got Christopher Reeve on the left. We've got Henry Cavill in the Justice League Snyder Cut black suit version on the right. And of course, we got the new Superman in the middle. And you can see he's already quite shorter than the other two. So he doesn't quite scale well. My understanding is the actor is pretty tall. But otherwise, I think he's gonna look pretty good next to these other Supermen or in his own display. Here they are from the back. Good comparison with the Christopher Reeve cape versus the new cape. Pretty similar concept there with the yellow S on the back, which I appreciate. Of course, not much to compare here with the all black cape and the plastic. Here's a side view as well. There we go. So overall, I do like the figure. After all, I think it could use a bit of detailing, maybe texturize the hair, some dry brush, some black washing, maybe a light black wash to bring out the texture of the suits, which I like to do on a lot of my figures with similar suits. Also, I've noticed in the images that these detailed lines here tend to be kind of a lighter blue to contrast with the main blue. So it may be worthwhile going over that with a lighter blue, but that's going to require some patience and more work. But otherwise, it's pretty solid. Again, quality control issues with some of the paint work, but if you're really bothered by it, nothing that can't be fixed. Pretty minor touches to get it perfect. Not the best articulation, but I think enough to get a decent pose. A little stiff, but not too bad. The big question is whether it's worth the $35 to have this version. For me, it is a little steep, but I think it is worth it because you do get the cloth cape as well as Krypto, and to me that's worth the extra $10. But not everybody's going to agree with that. Everybody's got a different budget and preference, but overall, pretty satisfied with it. That's going to be my review for the new movie Superman. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments, hit a like, and follow and subscribe for more.